Hey there, Nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back with another episode of Tales from the Tackle Zone, Season 2. This is our series that's dedicated to Blood Bowl Battle Reports, and this is Battle Report number 13. It is a game that takes place in the Old World Conference between my two friends, Dark Lord Mac as well as Iron Major. My friend Dark Lord Mac is playing Nurgle's Rotter, his Chaos Chosen team, versus the Dwarf Giants of the Dwarves, who is played by my friend Iron Major. So just to let you guys know, this is the very first game of the third round of our Blood Bowl League. This is the very first game of that third round in the Old World Conference. And we're really excited to see exactly what ended up happening for this one. Now, both my friends, of course, are playing at handicaps. Both of them are missing a player because they got injured in their previous games. Just to let you guys know, the Dwarves right now are currently sitting at 2 fan factors right now for fan factor of 2. I believe they're also at 0 and 2 as well. So they have 2 losses and no wins up to this point. While Nurgle's Rotters, I believe, have 1 win and 1 draw, I believe. At the same time, they also have a fan factor of 5 on this one. So when we toss the coin on this one, Nurgle's Rotters won the coin. So because of that, my friend Dark Lord Matt elected to kick off in the first half, so that way in the second half he will receive. So because of that, the Dwarf Giants will be on the offense for the first half. So with that being said, we're going to play some background music real quick. As the music is playing, we'll show you photos of both teams as well as their rosters. If you want to see exactly what our friends are bringing for this battle report, go ahead and pause and take a look at your leisure. So that being said, let's get this back. Alright, so now we're back after the kickoff. So the Nurgle's Rotters or Dark Lord Matt kicked the ball off directly towards the Dwarves. As you can see, the ball pretty much landed over here when it's all said and done when it finished bouncing. Now for the kickoff event on this one, my friend Dark Lord Matt rolled a 7, which was brilliant coaching. So because that, both teams did the roll a d6 and add the number of assistant coaches they have on their teams. Now neither side does have any assistant coaches, so it's just a straight d6 roll-off. My friend Dark Lord Mac rolled a 1, my Iron Major rolled a 2, so because he does get an extra reroll for this drive, so he has 4 rerolls instead of 3 for this first drive of the game. So now that the ball has pretty much settled right over here next to his runners, we go directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Dwarf Giants, and we'll be right back after their first turn activations. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Dwarf Giants, and this is after all their activations. And as you can see, my friend Iron Major had actually made some pretty good headway here, for example. So first of all, what ends up happening is that historic player number 7, Tharbor Olexon, manages to get the ball, runs directly towards the end zone. At the same time, he also brings up his Dwarf Runner as well. Meanwhile, over here in the top, one of the most important plays was this Troll Slayer. I believe that's Troll Slayer number 8, Unmar Snorrigsson. Managed to throw a block directly to a bloater, managed to put him down real quick with a pushback, with a power result. It's because he did get pushed back. Now, at the same time, because of that, I kind of freed up this line here where this lineman can then move over here to order to mark this player, and then this blitzer right here, player number 3, Berlin Berenson, ran a tackle, and actually my power was on this guy, managed to knock down that Rotter as well. That kind of frees up 2 lanes of approach that they can actually go to run the ball all the way through. Meanwhile, over here in the top, in the center line, as you can see, most of these guys got pushed back. We got some bloaters being knocked over as well. However, the most impressive play, though, was player number 11. His name is Carmen Burlinson. He throws the block directly into Davion, player number 8, who was a Rotter. Managed to put a knockout result on him. So because that he is currently knocked out, won't be much of anything else. Meanwhile, over here in the top, because this bloater got pushed back with a series of chain pushes, this allowed this lineman as well as this blitzer to move up in order to mark this Pestigore, player number 1, Ree McGore, who was a team captain for the Nurgle's Rotters, to make sure that he doesn't go and try to intercept any of the runners. And that pretty much makes up turn number 1 for my friend Iron Major. So with turn number 1 over with, we go directly to the bottom of the turn for Nurgle's Rotters. Alright, so it takes us to the bottom, turn number 1 for the Nurgle's Rotters. Unfortunately, it was a very short play. What ended up happening is that my friend Dark Lord Matt activated his bloater from over in the top. His name is player number 4. His name is Festus the Butcher. He does try to do a blitz action directly onto this lineman. I think the plan was to knock that lineman out so that way this Pestilger can then move down the line to intercept the runners. Unfortunately, when he rolled for his dice, he got player down, what he got for both of his results. He decided not to burn one of his rerolls because it's too early in the game so far to do that. So because of that, he goes crashing to the ground and he also gets knocked out for the most part. Now, before he did that, of course, he did stand up a couple of his players, so that part was kind of cool, but that pretty much makes up turn number 1 for Dark Lord Mac. So with that being said, we go to the top of turn number 2 for the Dwarf Giants. All right, so we're back at the top of turn number 2 for the Dwarf Giants, and it was an absolute brutal turn for the Dwarf Giants on this one. As you can see, they just punished Nurgle's Rotters on this drive. So let's go and talk about exactly what ended up happening. So first of all, the Dwarf Slayer over here, his name is Unmir Snoragrisson, managed to do a couple of pushes directly into this bloater player number 3. His name is Putrefix Dysplasia. He basically gets knocked out because he gets knocked out, put into the crowd as well. At the same time, player number, I believe that's player number 12, that's dwarf player number 12, Morden Borkdoxson, managed to put another player directly into the knockout box as well. So 2 players have been put on the knockout box, including 1 bloater. So that part was pretty rough. But as you can see here, they also got a casualty as well, because this player, player number 5, his name is Grimgrons Skerrickson. He's a blocker. Managed to throw a block with a power result directly onto player number 10. His name is Carl the Rotter. Carl the Rotter got a lasting injury, so because he will not be participating in the game anymore, he will be missing out his next game, and also has a characteristic reduction as well. And we'll, of course, talk about that during the after action report. And then from there, of course, as you can see, some more people get pushed out of the way. People get blocked down and knocked down. As you can see, the Dwarf Giants are taking it to the Chaos team, which is actually brutal. At the same time, he also runs up his blitzer as well as his runners directly to the wide zone, making his way directly to the end zone as well. And that pretty much ends a very successful drive for turn number two for the Dwarves. I forgot to mention as well, one of his players did roll a player down resolve, so he did burn up his extra reroll in order to stop that from happening. So now he's back to his normal 3 rerolls for the rest of the turn. So with that being said, we go directly to the bottom, turn number 2 for Nurgle's Rotters. Alright, so we go directly to the bottom, turn number 2 for the Nurgle's Rotters, and this is of course after my friend Dark Lord Mac's activation. As you can see, for the most part, he pretty much has spent the entire turn making his guys get back on their feet again, so that pretty much took up most of his activations. However, this Rotter over here, that's player number 12, his name is Lionel. He does, of course, scoot around the wide zone, trying to make it directly towards the bottom of the wide zone over here to intercept these guys from running. And perhaps the most dramatic play was player number 5. He's a bloater named Goldtrick Flyblown. He managed to escape the tackle zones out of 2 dwarves and managed to skirt around using his max movement allowance to try to skirt in and try to stop these dwarves from actually making it. I think he's going to try to pull a blitz action in his next turn if he can, or to stop these guys from actually getting into him. So we'll see exactly how that works out. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Dwarf Giants. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Dwarf Giants, and once again, the Dwarves have been just manhandling these Nurgle Rotters like it's nobody's business. As you can see, my buddy Dark Lord Mac pretty much swarms the upper layers over here, managed to push this bloater out of the way, as well as this Rotter, making power results on both of them, so knocking them both down as well. Same thing over here, as you can see, he's also marked this Rotter over here, put another power result on this Rotter up here, as well as up there. However, when he does throw one of his linemen directly into the Pesticor, he does get a player knockdown result. He decides not to use one of his rerolls because it's still in the first half of the first half of the game. So because of that, he doesn't want to use up his rerolls quite yet, and that caused immediate turnover. But he pretty much accomplished everything he wanted to do, so no harm, no foul. As you can see, he's only 4 squares away from his runner, making it directly to the end zone. And with that being said, we go directly to the bottom, turn number 3 for Nurgle's Rotters. So we go to bottom, turn number 3 for Nurgle's Rotters. As you can see, most of the turn was spent mainly sending out most of his players for the most part. He did, of course, do a power result with this player. Player number 12, Lionel, directly into his lineman. Did manage to knock him over, was kind of cool. But the most impressive play, though, was his Pesticor captain, Ree Magor. He actually shows why he is the team captain. He actually rolls in order to escape the tackle zone from this blitzer. He fails the first time, so Dark Lord Mac, of course, uses one of his rerolls in order to reroll it again. Does manage to get the score high enough in order to escape the tackle zone. And then from there, he runs along the backfield, as you can see, going directly into this player over here, which is the runner, arm of the ball, named player number 7, Tharbor Olaxson. Now, he goes for it twice in order to make that blitz, and he actually succeeds both times without having to use any other rerolls. And he does manage to hit him, and plus his horns do give him a +1 strength to his attack. Unfortunately, he only got a push result, so because all he did was to push down the player 1 space over downwards, not enough to actually put him directly into the crowd, so he is perfectly fine. However, though, this dwarf player is within his tackle zone, so he doesn't have to worry about that. And that pretty much makes up turn number 3 for my friend Dark Lord Mac. So with 10 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 4 for my friend Iron Major. Alright, so we're at the top of turn number 4 for the Dwarf Giants, and touchdown number 1 for my friend Iron Major. What ends up happening? Let's talk about exactly what ended up happening to cause this to occur. So the Dwarf Giants do get their first touchdown, but a couple things happen. First of all, This lineman over here does throw a block directly into this Rodder over here, managed to get a power result and knock him down at the same time. Meanwhile, this player over here also moves up into this square in order to engage this bloater who was over here. Bloater number 5, his name is Goldtrick Flyblown, and of course player number 8, the Troll Slayer Unmir Snorrigensen, throws a block directly into him. Not only does he throw a block into him as well, he also ruptures his armor and also puts a casualty result on him with a casualty result of 2. So because of that, this player number 5, Goldtrick Flyblown, will not be participating for the rest of the game because he is hurt. So we got 2 guys in the casualty box, 3 guys in the knockout zone. It's pretty brutal. Now from there, what ended up happening is that this blitz over here, Berlinson, he actually, because he's freed up over here, there's no more tackle zones occupying him, he pulls a blitz directly into Remagor, managed to get a push result, pushing him directly out of the way, so that way it frees up this avenue of approach for player number 7, Thorbar Orlokson. He, of course, takes directly to the end zone and gets himself a touchdown, as well as 3 star player points. So that pretty much makes up turn number 4 for the Dwarves. With that being said, we're going to re-rack real quick for my friends, and we'll go right back to the kickoff. We'll be right back after this. All right, so now we're back after kickoff. So as you can see here, my friend Iron Major sub his fighters in kind of like a chevron kind of defense. At the same time, my friend Dark Lord Mad kind of put most of his fighters on the line of scrimmage or to break through. He's also got one of his Pesticores back here. Now in the end, the ball eventually did land over here in this position. However, for the kickoff result, it was a solid defense for Iron Major, which means he got to activate D3 plus 3 players and have them do their normal thing. In the end, he was able to move up 4 of his players. As you can see, the first thing he does, he caused one of his blitzers to go directly into his lineman and got a push result, managed to push that Rodder back. He also brought in one of his linemen over here into the Nurgle's Rodder's territory. At the same time, he also has one of his blitzers go directly to this Rodder, marking him for the next turn, as well as a Slayer over here. So because of that, things are already looking kind of bad for my buddy Dark Lord Matt, because he's already got players in his half of the pitch. So that being said, we're going directly to the bottom of turn number 4 for Nurgle's Rodders. We'll talk about exactly what happens after their activations. Alright, so that takes us directly to the bottom of turn number 4 for my friend Dark Lord Mac, as well as Nurgle's Rodders. And as you can see, some dramatic things have occurred on the tabletop, especially against the line of scrimmage. Most dramatic things, of course, you see a couple players got powed and pushed back, but the most dramatic thing was player number 12, his name is Lionel the Rodder, managed to put Dwarf player number 12 as a casualty, Moradin Bokdorsen. That player got a badly hurt injury, so because of that, he will miss out the rest of the game, as he is busy currently recovering. So just like that, the Dwarves are now handicapped by 1 player as well. Meanwhile, Dark Lord Mac then does a blitz action with this player over here, this bloater, managed to knock this guy over here. At the same time, also moves one of his bloaters back over here in order to mark this blitzer player. At the same time, Pesticor player Ree McGore, the team captain, managed to pick up the ball and skirt around the top of the wide zone, trying to make his way directly to the end zone as quickly as possible. However, down here, the most dramatic thing was that this Rodder tried to throw a block action directly into this blitzer. They both get a both down result, but they're both perfectly fine. But that causes an immediate turnover for my friend Dark Lord Mac. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 5 for my friend Iron Major. Alright, so we're back for turn number 5 for the Dwarves. Pretty simple turn for the most part. My buddy Iron Major pretty much just kind of made his guys stand back up for the most part. He also moved a couple of his players directly to the line of scrimmage in order to gain control of that. He also ran up both of his runners, both Oathgren, Zach Mearson, as well as Tharbor Orlokson. They move up directly to this wide zone so that way they can act as interceptors against Remagor at the same time. Perhaps the most dramatic things, however, was this Troll Slayer player number 8, Unmir Snorragrinson. He actually kind of skirts around this engaged area, trying to make his way up the backfield, looks like, trying to get directly to Remagor. At the same time, this blitzer managed to put a power result directly onto this Rodder, getting right within the tackle zone of this guy, so that way he has to pass agility test and he wants to escape. And that pretty much makes up the... Oh, and finally, this player also just kind of rolled over because he was stunned earlier as well. And that pretty much makes up my friend Iron Major's turn for this one. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 5 for Dark Lord Mac. Alright, so we come back for turn number 5 for my friend Dark Lord Mac. As you can see, quite a bit of action took place over here. Managed to put power result on this blitzer down here in the wide zone. At the same time, managed to push back a couple players along the line of scrimmage as well. Perhaps the most dramatic movement, though, took place over here with this bloater. This player number 3 is the name of the player. His name is Putrefix Dysplasia. He does a blitz action directly into this blitzer over here. Managed to get a power result on him, which kind of knocks him out of position, which then allows Remagor to kind of slip through directly from the line of scrimmage and made it directly to the Dwarven end zone. Now, he does have his work cut out for him because he does have to worry about these 2 runners over here. Unfortunately, Dark Lord Mac has a couple players who are currently out of action right now, so he just doesn't have the mass to try to exploit it. So he's kind of hoping that he could basically dodge attacks and use his agility skill in order to make it directly to the end. And that pretty much makes up Dark Lord Mac's turn number 5 for this one. So turn number 5 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 6 for my friend Iron. All right, so we go directly to the top of turn number 6 for our friend Iron Major, and disaster strikes for Dark Lord Mac. So let's go ahead and talk about exactly what happened over here. So first of all, one of his Dwarf Slayers, player number 8, Unmir Snorgrensen, actually goes a blitz action all the way from back here in the at the end zone, makes his way across the backfield and does a rush it action to go directly into Remagoro. Managed to get him with a power result, which also kind of pushed him back a square as well. So, actually, I'm sorry, he went a little too far. There we go. He's supposed to be right over there. So he basically fell forward. He got a power result on him, so he got knocked over. No armor piercing, but he's currently down. What that did is it caused the ball to bounce over directly to this one square over here. So from there, this player number 1, I believe. That's player number 7. I do apologize. Thorborg Olex, one of the runners. He actually runs around, jumps over, manages to pick up the ball as well. At the same time, player number 1, Olafgren Zach Mearson, the other thrower, he also moves up directly from the wide zone directly over here, and that kind of gives him a wide open area to make it directly towards the end zone for the next couple of turns as well. Now from there, Iron Major then moves a couple of his players to mark some guys along the line of scrimmage, also managed to nail some guys over there. He's got this bloater on lockdown with one of his blitzers, as well as one of his bloaters over here as well. So that pretty much makes up Dark Lord Mac's activation for this one. So that being, Iron Major's activations for this one. So with that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 6 for Dark Lord Mac. Alright, so we go to bottom of turn number 6 for Nurgle's Rotters. As you can see, some dramatic things have occurred over here. First of all, he does manage to knock out these blitzers directly over the wide zone with his linemen, with assistance from some of his bloaters. Now, his most impressive play was this bloater over here. I believe that's player number 3. His name is Putrefix Dysplasia. He runs a blitz directly into player number 7, Thorborg Olax, and managed to knock him down with a power result, which caused the ball to bounce right to player number 12. His name is Lionel. He's a Rotter. He does manage to capture the ball, so because of that, the ball is back in the possession for the Nurgle's Rotters. Meanwhile, he also throws a block with this player number 6. His name is Glutos the Spoiler. Throws a block directly into this lineman, managed to push him out, so that way now they have an open line over here directly towards the center. Now from there, he also moves up one of his bloaters from the wide zone directly into this area as well. At the same time, stands with the rest of his player, so it looks like they have a hole that they can breach through and try to go through in the last 2 turns of the game. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 7 for the Dwarves and Iron Major. Alright, so we're back with turn number 7 now for the Dwarf Giants. As you can see, some crazy things took place over here in the line of scrimmage. Needless to say, what ended up happening is the ball got knocked out of Lionel's hands. So because of that, the ball does bounce over to this unoccupied square. So what ended up happening is that a lot of these Dwarves actually managed to push around players to break this really vacuum, but the ball was originally over here. So then from there, player number 1, Othgrim Zach Mearson, actually moves around the line of scrimmage and actually uses one of his dice to go for it. Managed to pick up the ball as well, so the Dwarves are now back in possession of the ball. At the same time, we're now entering round number 7. So I don't know if my friend Dark Lord Mac will be able to get that touchdown or not before the first half ends. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom number 7 for Dark Lord Mac, and we'll talk about exactly what he did for his actions after this. Alright, that takes us directly to the bottom of turn number 7 for my friend Dark Lord Mac. As you can see, some pretty dramatic things occurred. So what ended up happening is he did actually a couple of chain pushes with this bloater. I believe his name is Putrefix Dysplasia. Managed to shove all these guys down one over square. And what that did is it pretty much left it over for this player over here. I believe that's player number 11, I believe his name is. His name is Adavian Attractus, is what his name is. That put him in distributable blitz action. So he ran over here, pulled a blitz action over here, knocking over player number 1, Othgrim Zach Mearson. Now the ball originally did bounce directly to Remagor, the Pestigor. Unfortunately, the ball did not catch. He was able to catch it, so he did try to burn one of his rerolls in order to try to capture the ball. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, so the ball did bounce over to this unoccupied square over here. And of course, we have some more knockball overs taking place over here, but the most dramatic thing took place with this player trying to block this blitzer. Unfortunately, got both players down, but the blitzer has block, so he doesn't go down, but this player does, and that caused immediate turnover for turn number 7. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 8 for the first half of the game. Alright, so we go directly to the bottom of turn number 8, and touchdown number 2 for my friend Iron Major. It was absolutely insane. So let's talk about what happened. So first of all, Iron Major then activates his runner. His name is Othgrim Zach Mearson. He stands him back up, loses 3 movements of his squares. He skirts around the outside and goes for it twice. He goes for it once to go to pick up the ball, so that way he's in the square the ball is. Managed to pick up the ball, no problem, no rerolls needed. He then escapes a tackle zone, so in order to escape out of there, does that with his agility test, and goes for one more time in order to make sure he's in this box here. And then from there, he decides to pass the ball directly to player number 9, which is his blitzer, Firmakrag Cad Gunson. And the reason why is because as far as Iron Major was concerned, he realized that Even if the pass doesn't make it, it doesn't matter because the ball will then be completely out of play, and so the Nurgle's Rotters won't have anything to do for it. So he's like, might as well try to go for it because if it fails, at least the ball is out of position. He rolls the pass, and he rolls a bleeping 6 in order to get the ball out there, which is absolutely insane. So because of the pass is good, goes directly into the blitzer. Now originally, blitzer number 9, Femur Crag, Cat Gunson does fail to catch the ball, but Iron Major then burns up one of his rerolls. Where to reroll it, manages to catch the ball, it's good. He then runs forward his maximum allowance, goes for it twice, and makes directly to the end zone, securing a second touchdown for the Dwarf Giants against the Nurgle's Rotters. And since there's only one more turn left in the first half, my friend Dark Lord Mac decides to take a knee, and so because of that, ends the first half and goes directly to the second half, where Nurgle's Rotters will be receiving the ball in the second half. So with that being said, we're going directly to the top of the second half, and my friends will re-rack their players, and we'll be right back for the kickoff. All right, so now we're back with the second half of the game. As you can see, both of my friends have racked up their players. Unfortunately, Dark Lord Mac is playing with a severe handicap in this game, so he does not have as nearly much players as my friend Iron Major does, but he's still going to try to go for it and see if he can pull it off. In the end, the ball did bounce over here in the end, and for the kickoff table on this one, it was changing weather, but once again, my friends managed to roll perfect Blood Bowl weather once again, so the ball just scattered one more spot over, and that's pretty much where the ball is. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 1 for the second half from our friend Dark Lord Mac. We'll be right back after his activations. So we go directly to the top of turn number 1. It's a very short-lived turn. Unfortunately, my friend Dark Lord Mac does send Ramagor to pick up the ball. He does fail his agility test, so the ball does bounce one over square. He decides not to burn up one of his rerolls because he feels like it's too early in the second half, so the ball bounces over one to the 5 o'clock position right over here. So because of that, immediately causes a turnover directly toward my friend Iron Major and the Dwarf Giants. So we'll be right back after my friend Iron Major's first turn activations. So we go to the bottom of turn number 1 for the second half for the Dwarf Giants, and as you can see, some dramatic things have occurred, especially on the wide zones. Unfortunately, Dark Lord Mac does not have enough players in the wide zones, which allows my friend Iron Major to kind of swarm forward. So as you can see here, one of his blitzes is a blitz action, knocking over this Rotter over here, as well as one of his linemen and his throwers, as well as a Slayer coming in directly towards the ball in that direction. At the same time, he also commits his blitzer as one of his throwers in the top wide zone as well. Meanwhile, in the line of scrimmage, he does manage to push back one of the Rotters with a power result, but on the second attempt to do so, he gets a player down result. Iron Major decides not to burn up his reroll because it's too early in the second quarter, so because he does go down, causing immediate turnover for the Dwarf Giants. So with that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for Nurgle's Rotters. All right, so we go to the top of turn number 2 for the Nurgle's Rotters, and as you can see, some dramatic things have definitely occurred over here. So first of all, what ends up happening is that Dark Lord Mac sends his bloaters forward in the line of scrimmage, managed to knock over a couple of guys and making a couple of holes right here in the line of scrimmage, giving him a couple options to run the ball through this way or through that way. Unfortunately for Iron Major, he was a little over aggressive on this one, so he sent his guys over directly into the wings. He left nobody here really in the backfield, so that way it's a straight shot directly towards the end zone. Now once he got done doing that, he then moved up Remagor. Remagor actually moved up to try to pick up the ball. He did fail the second time, so my friend Dark Lord Mac decided to burn one of his rerolls. From there, he runs directly towards his line of scrimmage to where these holes are located at, so that way he can take either direction or try to run it directly to the end zone. He also moves up one of his runners up here in order to protect him, and also managed to take a blitzer out over here in the top as well. And that pretty much makes it Dark Lord Mac's turn number 2. So with turn number 2 over with, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for my friend Iron. So we go directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for the Dwarf Giants, and disaster strikes for my buddy Iron Major. So first thing he does is he actually stands with a lot of his fighters who got knocked over earlier, so that way his players can try to intercept as best they can. And he also moves up his Dwarf Slayer, Unmir Snoragrinson. He actually moves up directly his Max Moonlance directly towards this infield to try to intercept Remagor as he tries to escape. However, he does try to move one of his throwers, this player number 7, Tharbor Olekson. He does fail to escape the tackle zone out of this Nurgle player, so because of that, Iron Major does burn up one of his rerolls to try to stop that from happening. Unfortunately for him, though, he failed the second time, so because he does go crashing down, his armor isn't penetrated, so he's perfectly fine, but it does cause immediate turnover, going directly to the top of turn number 3 for my buddy Dark Lord Mac, as well as Nurgle's Rotters. So we'll be right back after the turn 3 actions. Alright, so we're back at the top of turn number 3 for Nurgle's Rotters for Dark Lord Mac, and as you see, quite a bit of dramatic things have occurred on the tabletop. All of his players get activated. As you can see, he pushes guys around back here on the bottom, engages other players in the backfield as well. Also kind of engages players up here in the top field as well. And with that opening, Exploiter Rommergar moves up his max moon allowance, slipping right through the line of scrimmage, heading directly towards the end zone as well. So you see quite brutal things are occurring right now for the Dwarves. A couple of players knocked down, and a lot of players also being marked as well. So that being said, we go directly to the bottom turn number 3 for my buddy Iron Major. So unfortunately for my friend Iron Major, he does forget to move his turn marker before he actually starts moving his players. So because of that, it causes an immediate turnover because of legal procedures. So unfortunately for my friend Iron Major, he does lose his turn for this one. So because of that, we go directly to the top of turn number 4 for my friend Dark Lord Mac. So we go directly to the top of turn number 4 for my friend Dark Lord Mac, and touchdown number 1 for Nurgle's Rotters. As you can see, Rimagor actually moves up his normal moon allowance, rushes directly to the end zone. He does have to go for it once, but he passes no problem. And just like that, Nurgle's Rotters now have earned 1 touchdown. The first touchdown for their game, so it's not going to be a complete loss for my friend Dark Lord Mac. So that being said, we're going to re-rack the teams real quick, and then we'll be right back for kickoff with the Dwarf Giants receiving the ball for the second half here. Alright, so now my friends have re-racked. As you can see, my friend Iron Major has pretty much put most of his guys work on the line of scrimmage, whereas my friend Dark Lord Mac decided to hang back for this one for most of his people as well. He's trying to go play the backfield and try to stop anybody from actually breaking through to get a touchdown. Meanwhile, the ball, of course, did land over here. It did scatter over one spot over here by the time it all got said and done. Unfortunately for my friends, though, timeout was actually called on this one, so because of that, they do lose a turn apiece. So as you can see, the turn markers have been moved up forward. So because of that, we'll be starting off in turn number 5 for this second half of the game. So with that being said, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 5 for my friend Iron Major. We'll be right back after his activations. Alright, so we go directly to the bottom of turn number 5 for Iron Major. As you can see, some dramatic movement is taking place in the backfield. Basically gets the ball over to player number 7, Tharbar Olikson. He managed to pick up the ball. He did have to use one of his rerolls in order to do so. Unfortunately, he failed his sure hand result the first time around, so that's why I had to burn a reroll in order to do so. Now from there, he moves up his blitzers and his throwers directly to the wide zone over here. It looks like what Iron Major is going to try to do is try to skirt along this top side, take out guys this way, and then just kind of power through directly to the end zone. It looks like he's going to try to accomplish. Unfortunately, one of his linemen does try to throw a block, but he gets a player down result instead. So because that, he decides not to use another reroll because he can't, and that caused me a turnover for turn number 6 for my friend Dark Lord Mac. So we'll be right back after Dark Lord Mac's activations on this one. Alright, so we go directly to the top of turn number 6 for Nurgle's Rotters. As you can see, a lot of things have occurred over here. First of all, the most dramatic play is sending this bloater directly into this blitzer, managing to get a power result, knocking him out. At the same time, you can see he took his little line here of bloaters and ran them directly up to this wide zone, as well as his Pestigar rear Murgal in order to stop the Dwarves from actually going to this direction up here. At the same time, he also starts assaulting the line of scrimmage, knocking a couple of players down. But unfortunately, when this Rotter tries to throw a block action, he does get player down. So because it caused immediate turnover, and we go directly to the bottom of turn number 6 for Iron Major. So that being said, we're going to talk about exactly. We'll come right back after Iron Major done with his activations for turn 6. Alright, so it takes us directly to the bottom of turn number 6, and disaster strikes from my buddy Dark Lord Mac. As you can see, some crazy things have been happening, especially along the line of scrimmage. So first of all, my friend Iron Major decides to take all of his players, his throwers, his runners, as well as his blitzers, and they move along the backfield here, heading directly towards this wide zone down here. Which is actually kind of crazy, because if you think about it, the Dwarves are actually faster than a lot of the Nurgle players. So by making them go up this way, that pretty much opened up this avenue of approach down over here, and there's nothing there stopping them. At the same time, along the line of scrimmage, 2 more players got taken out of action, and they are seriously badly hurt on this one as well. First of all, Dwarf player number 8, his name is Unmir Snorgrinson, the Troll Slayer, managed to throw a block action and managed to put another guy, cracked his armor, put badly hurt on him, which is player number 11, Davion Attractus. So because he goes into the casualty box, and he will not be participating for the rest of the battle report. And then finally, player number 6, he's a lineman named Magrand Atchinson, does exactly the same thing. Atchinson does a block directly into player number 12, Lionel, who's a Rotter, managed to put a casualty on him and put a badly hurt result on that as well. So just like that, 4 members of the team are currently down out of action. At the same time, we also managed to knock over a couple more players in order to open up this avenue of approach, and that makes up Iron Major's turn number 6 for this one. So turn number 6 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 7 for my friend Dark Lord Mac. Alright, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 7 for this one. So Dark Lord Mac decides to actually try to chase down and try to stop these Dwarves as quickly as possible. He sends down Pestigor, Ragar, his leader, tries to make him go his max moon lance directly towards the backfield. Same thing with one of these bloaters to try to intercept these guys going through the wide zone. At the same time, he also knocks out a couple guys up here in the wide zone up here on the top, as well as the line of scrimmage, so that way he can free his bloaters to try to move out as well. And that pretty much makes up his activations for this one. So with turn number 7, the top of turn number 7 done for Dark Lord Mac, we go directly to the bottom of the turn for my friend Iron Major. Alright, so that takes directly to the bottom of turn number 7 for Iron Major, and as you can see, he does move a couple of his players down over here, as what he does for the most part, moving them directly along this line of scrimmage into the wide zone, making the way directly to the end. At the same time, he also, probably the most important thing, was put a blitz action with this player, player number 8. His name is, player number, can I see the number on that one? Player number 3, oops, sorry, not player number 3, player number 4. There we go. Sorry, I couldn't read the numbers on that one. His name is Thurnlund Fire Finrinson. He managed to pull that blitz directly into Ray Magor, which is the team captain. Managed to get a power result as well as also knocking him over at the same time, which stops this guy from intercepting any of the players. And of course, he does try to intercept with player number 9, tries to throw a block directly into this rotter, but unfortunately gets player down. Now, when they get done with this, my friends both realize that there's no way in heck that either side can get a touchdown within one single turn. Unfortunately, the Dwarves are too slow. They just can't make the distance to run the ball or have anyone to throw it through. My buddy Dark Lord Mac's not going to be able to, if he manages to possess the ball somehow, there's now no way he's going to be able to go directly to the end zone to score a touchdown. So my friends basically call the game at this point with a victory for the Dwarf Giants, their first one, with 2-1 on this game. So with that being said, we go directly to the after action report because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Alright, now it's time for the after action report. This is part of the battle report. We talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn for the next time that we do battle. This is the after action report for Tales from the Tackle Zone Season 2, battle report number 13, Old World game number 7. So starting off with my friend Dark Lord Mac with Nurgle's Rotters, let's talk about his injuries real quick. So unfortunately, he did couple of injuries on this one. Rotter number 10, Carl, suffered a head injury, which means now he's dropped 1 value in armor value, so now he's armor value 8, and he also misses next game because he is injured. Meanwhile, bloater number 5, Gluttrick Flyblown, rotter number 11, Davion Attractus, and rotter number 12, Lionel. All 3 of those guys have badly injured, but they make full recoveries, so they're perfectly fine. For advancements, Pestigore player number 1, Ree Magor, actually chose the block skill and also increased his gold value by 20,000 gold pieces in value. Now for the winnings on this one, my friend Dark Lord Mad just scrounged up 45,000 gold pieces. He also still has 2 dedicated fans for his fan base, and when combined with his money that he had in his treasury, ended up with 150,000 gold pieces in total. With that 150,000 gold pieces, he spent 140,000 of it to recruit a Rot Spawn named Rot Spawn player number X. He's named Festering Jawbreaker, and he took the remaining 10,000 gold pieces he had and placed it directly into the treasury. Now for inducements, he didn't buy any inducements this time, and for his league points, he actually scored 0 league points on this one because his loss, which brings his grand total to 3 league points in total. His new record now is at 1 win and 2 losses, and his new team value now is at 1,205 points. So moving on to Iron Major's Dwarf Giants, who won this match. He did suffer 1 injury, which his name is block number 12, Moradin Borkdarson. He was badly injured, but he makes a full recovery, so no harm, no foul there. For his advancements, he didn't advance at all during this time period, but he did manage to score 55,000 gold pieces, which he put directly into his treasury. His dedicated fan base did grow to 1, so because he's now got 2 dedicated fans in total, he didn't recruit anybody at this time or purchase any inducements. With his league points, he earns 3 points for winning the game, as well as another league point for causing 4 casualties in this game, bringing his grand total to 6 league points in total. His new record now is at 1 win, 1 loss, and 1 draw, and his new team value now is at 1,130 points. So that's good to do for this, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.